In MVC, you can control where a bound value is accessed from, and you can also control what is bound. So we have the default where it looks at what's posted, then it looks at the route, and then it looks at a query string. But you can actually indicate using these attributes what exactly you want it to use. So you can do these in an action method right in the parameter list, right? So right before string ID, if we want that to come from the route, we can put that little attribute right in there. And then if there's a page number that should come from a query string, we can say from query. Okay, if it should come from the HTTP request header, we can say from header, and we can actually specify what part of the header that we want to use. In addition, if you want to put this in your model, you can do it there as well. So we can indicate from form for wish 1, 2, and 3. Now, if you're going to use any of these from attributes, then you do need to include this using statement. Without the using statement, it will flag them as wrong. Another thing that you can do to control binding, and this controls what is bound, is that you can use either the bind attribute or the bind never attribute. In the scaffolding that MVC uses, if you look in the controllers, uh, in most of the post action methods, they use bind. Sometimes you'll see bind never, but most of the time you will see bind, and it'll be something like this. They're just going to pull in what they're going to use. They don't always pull in all of the properties. Why is this important? If you modify a model and you adjust the view, you have to remember to go in and adjust this list. You would not believe how many people forget to adjust this list. And then they're like, oh, I added this new property and I'm typing data in the form, but it's not getting saved to the database. I would bet money that the reason it's not getting saved is because they forgot to add it to this list. Okay, so this list is pretty important, especially if you're going to do any modifying of your models and your forms. Okay, so in addition to using bind and bind never in our controllers, you can use them in the models as well. And I would be more inclined to use bind never in a model, especially for something that gives people access to an administrative section, because you don't want anybody hacking in and accidentally setting is manager on, which would give them all sorts of access to your system that you don't want them to have.